Music. We all know the power of a song and how that can transcend language, that can transcend hurt, pain, express joy, laughter. It is powerful. And we all know that to be true. My mom grew up in a musical home. She could play the clarinet, sing, piano, and music was a part of her life. Matter of fact, her father, my grandfather, told me Scott Gordon was his name. Uh, if you don't know how to read music, I consider you illiterate. What an opening salvo to say on, hey, nice to see you. Um, but I also grew up with singing and dancing on the stage since I was about 5 years old with my mom, doing musicals. Ended up playing the trumpet and took piano lessons, but was not my thing. And so music was a part of that life and is what birthed Backyard Gang. It was music to overcome troubles, problems. So we moved to Atlanta, Georgia. We lived in this house. My father had steak and seafood restaurants. Originally was Hungry Bull, and he bought the Atlanta market as Hungry Bull went into bankruptcy, then transformed it all to Flanders. And ironically, I do not live that far away from Flanders. Relative for an American, I don't live that far away. I'm probably about maybe 3.5 hours away from Flanders right now. Small world. But music was my mom's answer to try to help my sister and I with problems we were having in the neighborhood. And there was a bully, and I'll still keep his name secret for right now. But we named him Mikey in the musical. And then the songs were simply about what we were experiencing so that it become real and that other children could use music to help them through their everyday problems. And gee whiz, when mom started doing that, I was maybe 12 because we moved to Atlanta in 1980. And so, then it was a year or two later when she started developing the Backyard Gang and became Wendy Hopkins and the Backyard Gang. And so that was the beginning of why the music and the power of music to transcend language. So what does that do? How does that tie into another Backyard Gang story? Well, I gave you the backstory of how Backyard Gang came into existence. We were in Tbilisi, Georgia. And again, if you follow the news, you probably know where Georgia is. And it's another part of the Soviet Union at that time in 1988. And we had an exchange with an arts and music performing school there in Tbilisi. And that school, this is for another time, that school came and visited us in Atlanta. And there's about 4 or 5 great stories that come out of that one. But my mom decided she wanted to go and take a subgroup, whoever wanted to, and just walk through the city. And so off we went. And we ended up in this Orthodox church and with a big dome on it. And there was no church service going on. So my mom just began to sing, and it was 2 songs. I love you, Lord, and the blessings of the Lord are forever. And I just sung them tonight, actually. But I believe there's a video, if you look in here, to my mom, and I kind of tell this story. But we walk in, there's a group, maybe 8 to 10 of us, and we sang the 2 songs. And I think we sang them 2 or 3 times in repetition. So I love you, Lord. And then the blessings of the Lord are forever. So I love you, Lord, and I lift my voice to worship you. Oh, my soul, rejoice. That song. And then The blessings of the Lord are forever. His mercies never come to an end. They are new every morning. That song. So we sang those two, and I think it was 3 times. And then a little babushka, a little Russian grandmother, Georgian grandmother, came up to us, and we didn't understand a word. Our guide was back at the hotel, and we just kind of went off, and we're singing. And so, but music transcends language. It transcends culture. Music is the essence. It is the song of God through our hearts in this case. And so the babushka told us to follow her, and you could feel God's spirit in her. And so we followed her out the back of the church. And then the human aspect comes into the back of your mind. Okay, we're all going to our death. We're all going to get killed, and we're not going to make it any further. This is our last stop, Tblisi. Boom, right? And no one's going to know we're missing. We walked off down the street, and boom, we're gone. And so, but I sensed, so did my mom, and we sensed something was special about this lady and that God was in her. So we followed her down these little alleys, and about 7 minutes later, we're knocking on this door. Like in the medieval times, right? Little window comes open, and there's a bearded man behind it. I imagine he said, "What do you want?" And then she's looking up. She's a small little, about the size of my mom, which is about right here. And she tells him something. The little window shuts. The door opens. A big, heavy wood door. With a creak, right? And I'm thinking, okay, we're for sure goners. Now we're going in. Ooh, scary. And so we all kind of file in. And then the door closes behind us. And then we're told in a rough English, "Follow me." And so there's a big monastic priest, and in all black, and he led us then down the hallway, and then opened the door, and boom, we were at this massive boardroom table. It could have probably sat about maybe 20, 25 people, big, long. So we all sat around this table. We left the head open and was, okay, this is interesting. Maybe we're not going to die. And then the head of the Georgian Orthodox Church entered in with his assistants. And then we had a meeting with him. And that was just an amazing visit, an amazing time to just share. And we sang for him. Again, the power of music. And the babushka said, you need to sing what you sang in the church. And so we stood, better for the diaphragm, and we sang. And then we took our seats again, and there was a little bit more of an exchange, and then he blessed us, and we got a couple things, like a book and a couple other little things, and then we were off. The power of music is so important in your life. Don't underestimate that. Don't underestimate the joy it can bring, the suffering that it can ease, and to have God's Spirit sing through you. That was Backyard Gang. That was the power of what my mom brought to us as children that has stayed with me to an adult. And here I am, well into my 50s. So come on over to my own backyard. Come on over to my own backyard and see all there is to see. There are rabbits in a cage, my pets, birds in a tree, baby Isabel and me. That was my sister and her baby Isabel, Cabbage Patch doll Isabel. I'll see you on the flip side, into more videos. Cheers.